G'day, this is Captainoob, but this is a Bloodied Ultracite laser rifle with VATS criticals doing plus 50% damage. So normally this lineup of legendary effects is particularly potent. I've got this on a handmade rifle that I use basically all the time, and it is a very solid weapon. But unfortunately for the Ultracite laser gun, it's actually really terrible. Why, you might ask? Well, note how I've got a standard laser rifle in here of the Mutants variety, and we're not actually getting that Mutants boosted. If I equip the weapon, there we go, we've got it boosted, and it'll actually show with that. So 27 damage, with the 10% more we get 30. Yeah, makes sense, I guess. But the Ultracite laser gun is actually inferior in terms of damage to a standard laser gun, which is super easy to get, super easy to craft mods for, because you can just unlock them by killing super mutants and scrapping their laser snipers. So, whoops, I guess this weapon was neglected and no one at Bethesda decided to, you know, actually have it balanced. They didn't expect anyone to use it. So if you're wondering why you don't see many laser rifles of the Ultracite variety going around on Market 76, that's why. They suck compared to standard laser rifles, which are considerably less rare, but I've got the calibrated capacitor on this to synergize with that VATS critical damage. I think we're going to have to spam this thing in VATS as much as possible to squeeze exactly as much damage as we possibly can out of it. Forceful stock, making that condition bar very good. Might go forceful stock for all my laser guns these days because they do break on you. You need crystal and shit to repair them, and that's not exactly growing on trees. Reflex sight, beam focuser. Beam focuser increases range. Reflex sight decreases the VATS action point usage, so that synergizes well as well. And true auto barrel for hipfire accuracy. We've got ground pounder as well, and I think the forceful stock actually gives you a little bit of a hip fire benefit too. The main reason I'm not using anything like tank killer to laser gun energy doesn't actually do any armor penetration as of this recording, so unfortunately we're going to be missing out on damage even more with the fact that we can't actually punch through any armor. So anything with a sturdy enough stat in the energy resistance is going to be like a brick wall when it comes to using this weapon. So enough of me bitching and moaning, let's go ahead and chuck on some perks of this. All Master Commando perks. We're running this at Bloodied Nerd Rage Threshold, so we'll chuck on Serendipity, of course, Bloody Mess, and just to keep this thing kicking for a little bit longer. The condition isn't terrible on it, to be honest, but, you know, to make sure this thing doesn't break all the time. So 50 damage. I think the handmaids do 90 damage when we're fully spec'd into them, and the assault rifle that I used yesterday, 68 damage, and this thing does get a fair amount of armor penetration when spec'd right. So this thing is actually doing 50% more damage than what we got here, which is... it's really dumb. No way else to put it. Okay, take note of that health bar, run the Nerd Rage Threshold. There it is. And if we take a look at this weapon now, 154 damage, whereas this thing is doing 130. So we have surpassed it, but that's only because this thing has the Mutants legendary effect. We're getting 8 more damage out of that. And this thing... doing less, again, probably because it's not bloodied, but 154 doesn't seem like a lot, does it? I think my bloodied handmade does like 235 ballistic damage, something around 230-ish. So that's a huge amount of damage to miss out on. Remember when I talked about hitting a brick wall if your enemies had sturdy enough numbers in the old energy resistance? Well, basically that's going to happen, so full unyielding and the standard buffs. So we're going to be using this thing in VATS quite a bit, and that was sneak attack criticals. We're getting a 2.5 times damage multiplier there too. And now that we're hitting him for less than that, 56 damage on the torso shots, double for headshots, and yeah, it's going to be very bad. So the success criteria of this weapon is basically shoot stuff in the head with sneak attack criticals or I will die. See, the sneak attack criticals are doing well. We've spec'd particularly heavy in sneak. We've got 3 ranks of sneak, what I usually have for unsuppressed weapons, but unlike something like a 10mm sub, which I would use unspec'd because you can't put a shish tube on it. Okay, that was a very interesting lot of misses there with a shot like that. Now, let me see if my theory about clearing out these things is right, because I think if the server's fucked, it just won't happen, so you could probably do that as much as you want. You won't see these guys ever respawn. 210 damage with adrenaline as it is, so we'll come back to those later. If there's anything of note, I'll mention it, but I doubt it. See, when testing high traffic areas when it comes to respawning, sometimes even the group piles, they just stick around for ages. You can clear them out as much as you bloody want. You won't be seeing them spawn again without when the server session is still around, and ooh, yikes. Like, this guy's got a sledgehammer, so we can easily just step back and shoot him from the safety of that, so just helping us out with that, but yeah. We are still managing to pull through, so to its credit, it is doing okay, but it just sucks that we're missing out on so much damage. I think we're being lifted here just by the build, to be honest. But luckily for us, we've got how many? We've got, hang on, we've got 10,000 fusion cells. That's because I barely ever use energy weapons again. So, there you go. 135 versus 210. So not on legendary. I mean, we're obviously going to out DPS it, and the sniper barrel makes it do more damage. But you know what? Just ignore that laser gun. And we're straight onto the Krabbies because basically everywhere else was occupied and there were no mutants home there. So we won't be able to kill the Shreks just yet. That'll come just a little bit later. And fucking hell. You can see this thing, it's really struggling against this stupid glowing Mirelurk, and okay, lucky he's not diseased. We probably would have gotten flap limb or something from him, which is not ideal. I'm not even sure whether okay, cool. There's a diseased one. I hope he doesn't give me the ranged thing. Ooh, hitting her for a total of 30 damage for a weapon that is completely bloodied up and everything, so, it's bad. 34 damage I'm seeing there with headshots. Yikes. Okay. So it appears that Bethesda might need to have a look at this weapon, because if this thing sucks compared to a standard laser rifle, people aren't actually going to move on from laser rifles, unless they intended it to be that way, which is really stupid because these things are significantly rarer, so why not have players rewarded for playing around and finding these things by giving them better damage? I don't know, that feels like it makes sense to me. Okay, let's start shooting stuff in the train yard, starting off with him. And I'm not going to pick up his little code things because we've got Reddit to figure out the codes for us. It's not really that hard to just search up on Reddit what the codes are for this week, and then off you go. So it looks like we've got gun zombies, and as far as I'm aware, there isn't a damage multiplier that applies to these guys, even though I guess it'd make sense of firing green beams of Ultracite and it would do a little bit more damage to these guys. Maybe it does. Okay, we're just getting sneak attack criticals. So we're hitting them from around 60 again, which doesn't seem to be too of note, really. That seems stock standard. These guys, yeah, they're not really all that strong. They're kind of squishy compared to super mutants, but they make up for strength in numbers and shooting. They're kind of like raiders, except they're more zombie-like, I suppose. So it's easy enough to take these guys out, but to rate the damage on them, we've got to make a conclusion about that. And where are you? They can still say words, though, so they're not completely brain dead. Anyways, coming into this area here, this little shed, I suppose, the train yard shed. Looks like they're all cleared out. Still something around though, and let me just pinch that off you. If that turns back into a regular old thing, then we'll be right. But I somehow doubt it because just, I don't know, Fallout 76 is just a buggy mess. Still, they have that, like, they release all this content, but they don't fix the fundamental bugs that may ruin the player's experience. So that's something that I've just been annoyed at, and I'm stuck again. So I got out. The power of being a goth chick. You can get yourself unstuck when, yeah, you're immune to being soft locked. That's fun. Alright, so we're done here, and it's performed okay, I guess. It just sucks that we're missing out on those numbers, man. Those extra numbers of damage. Righto, this is crunch time for my Bloodied Ultracite laser gun, because if we fail against Scorch Beast, we'll know that there's basically no reason to use this thing. I mean, I've already decided that because laser guns do more damage, but just basically this thing in general, because it's got some novelty value being a Bloodied Ultracite gun, at least for its rareness, but still, it just makes no goddamn sense that it does less than a standard laser gun. And I won't get sneak attack crits on you, will I? I saw you attacking something over here. What's over there? Is it Mr. Gutsies again? Because apparently if you shoot them... No, it's a Deathclaw. It's a Deathclaw white boy, so we got to take him out. Play that funky music, white boy. Swing and a miss. Okay, we were able to out DPS a Deathclaw. Obviously, backpedaling with Speed Demon helped too. And he was packing major heat, but didn't decide to use it. You know, Deathclaws, you've got thumbs. There's nothing stopping you from learning how to use guns. I get that unarmed builds are powerful and everything, but you've got no range, man. And especially when you leave yourself super open to attack. Oh god, here comes the bone-hurting juice. Luckily, Serendipity has our backs there, so I guess that's worked out. No point in jumping around, we'll just go ahead and hip-fire this thing. And we can't cripple his limbs. Perhaps if we got Tormentor or something, we'd get a chance to that. And but I'm not pulling Bloody Mess or Serendipity from my perk chart because I need them for damage purposes and also staying alive purposes, survivability purposes. We have slipped back into Caution though, which is nice, so we'll push the advantage of that. Wait till he's nice and close. Full auto him, and still... Well, we missed about 5 shots in that burst before it managed to sort shit out, so I feel like there might be some sort of bugs when it comes to concentrated fire with this thing. Okay, he's fallen on the ground. Good news. We just keep on hitting him. We can get dabbed on here. No, he's going to do this attack, which is weird. It's a very useless attack. Also, that entire Scorch Beast was, he was melted into a neat little pile, no bigger than what a Radroach would be melted into. Alright, so that was a little bit of a struggle there. We managed to pull through with the help of our perks, which is basically the builders carrying this. And maybe if we stuck something to make this thing quieter on the front, you know what I'm referring to, it might be better. But still, I think you could probably do better with a basic-ass pipe gun. In fact, I think I did kill a Scorch Beast quicker with a level 1 basic-ass pipe gun, so there's that. Stop doing that, it's annoying. How dare you fire those 308s into me, which are made of clay, I guess, because we'll just sidestep that. A swing and a miss from old mate Scorch Beast. He is level 50, though, and he's eating these lasers like a champ, so credit to him, he's actually doing quite well, and it's actually shattered both of our legs right there, so that's no more sneaking for me, so I'll just jam a stim pack in me, because I need the sneaks, man. Oh, it's gonna be one of those fights. If one of them appears, if one more of them appears, I'm basically buggered. And luckily I had that stim pack going because I would have totally gotten wrecked there. So if they decide to check out this video, see that, wow, laser guns aren't doing nearly as much damage as they ought to, we better buff these things. What I'll probably do is I'll come back with my gunslinger and use it because I'm thinking a That's Luck gunslinger build would be actually really good with this, so I'll pinch your guts too. Alrighty, I think that paints a picture of the effectiveness against this weapon with Scorch Beast, so yeah, it's not easy to use this thing, but you can if you've got a decent enough build to support it. Alright, so a bunch of feral tools need to be exterminated. Let's get started, shall we? And what the hell? A bunch of them just died right there. That was weird. I think the Radroach might have martyrdomed them. But they're all aggroed and they're all legendary and they're about to be completely ruined. Well, there ain't nothing I can do about this. We'll just have to live with it. So, ghouls are squishy, that's for sure, but when it comes to crowd control at this range of health, that's when it gets a little bit tricky. So having ground pounder on is a good idea because we can just shove more fusion cells into this, make it fire more laser beams, and yeah, doing that ensures our survivability. Also, spoofing with their pathing seems to do well. They don't really like this part of the joint, actually. Sometimes if you walk too far back, what they'll do is they'll just turn tail and try to go out the front door and like flank around you. Normally you'd say, yeah, that's some pretty good tactics, but no, you basically break their pathing. So not going too bad against these ghouls. We don't have to get a whole lot of damage up there if we are fighting ghouls because their health pools aren't particularly high like super mutants, but in crowd control situations, if I wasn't able to stay on top of all of that, well, I'd get killed very, very quickly because we don't really have the damage output to keep going, and there's that quick reload. doing good work for us there. So, you know, with strict controlling of the, I guess, where they're pathing from, we've actually managed to pull through there pretty easily. So, yeah, all of these ghouls just died. I think the Rad Roach got them, so... Oh, there's a quad laser pistol. Funnily enough, probably doing more damage. Hey! That's probably a significantly stronger weapon, because now we can... Why is it creating nuclear waste? We're not ghoulifying them. These are ash piles. You don't get nuclear waste from ash piles. Well, yeah, interesting. It's like we've got the SS model, but it came out as an Omega. So, yeah, to put that in car terms, I guess. Good old VE Commodores. Also, the most depressing thing I watched today was a review of those new ZB model Commodores, which came out a couple of years back, but man, they're so depressing. Alrighty, let's finish this thing off at Shrek Swamp. Question is, have we pulled any Shreks? Yes, we have. We've pulled the big green mean fighting machines. That one's got a hammer, so I'm going to step back away from him because I can't out DPS him, not even with a bloodied weapon at Nerd Rage. I can't actually out DPS him, although they do hit strong, so they tend to just one-shot you anyway unless you get Serendipity to activate, and it's not good standing there taking that automatic fire. We'll probably have to stick to cover a little bit more, like an XCOM unit. That guy, we got a critical on because he was completely out of cover, and this ain't really good cover. We're being flanked by that guy, so we're still under the cloak, so we can kill that guy. Haven't been detected. We must be running a Reaper class here with an automatic rifle. Haven't been detected still. Kill the doggo. Haven't been detected still. And now we have been detected, so our next turn we'll sit here and Overwatch. Is there anything here? I see one. We'll take a reaction shot. We must have had a stock because we did minimal damage. XCOM 2 is great. Such a good game. Anyways, so moving back over to this thing. Like I said before, it's like being promised to get the SS model only to have the Omega drive up. And ain't nothing wrong with Omegas. In fact, if you drive an Omega, you're actually a sick cunt because I drive one. But you know what I mean. You promise something a lot more powerful, a lot more grunt in it, I suppose, and you're getting something that is objectively inferior. So, whoops. This thing ain't revving like a V8. It's revving like a 2-liter, just like the ZB Commodores. Oh man, that makes me so sad. Like, I reckon that all Commodores, everything that is called a Commodore should be made, manufactured in Australia. I don't fucking want Germans designing me cars. I know they're good at engineering, but we've got to look after our blokes down here. Because when Holden and Ford laid off their factories, hundreds of people lost their jobs, all because the government just didn't want to do it anymore, something like that. I haven't looked into it all that much, but people generally line up and blame the government, the Gillard government, I think. So, yeah, there's that. So, yeah, it's something I should probably look into because it fucking sucks. Maybe if I get rich and powerful enough, I could buy Holden, and we can just make VE Commodores for everyone. Everyone gets to drive VE model Commodores, and then I basically get world peace out of that because everyone would be like, hey, I can't spend money on bullets, I gotta get my timing chain replaced. Also, did I manage to kill the guys in the control room? I think I might have missed them whilst I was rambling on about shit that's really kind of meaningless, but I think you get the point of this weapon. Okay, we did kill those guys. Good, I'm not completely brain dead. So we'll step into the hell room and see what we can do. Probably use this thing, in fact, as much as possible, even though none of our unyielding bits actually have AP regen. Ideally, all of my unyielding bits on Winter would be combat armor, shadowed, ultralight perhaps, maybe deep pocketed, one of either, and the effects unyielding, AP regen, and also harder to detect while sneaking, because don't need the Sentinel's effect giving you less or taking away potential damage if you're not being shot. And I'll just leave my PvP till my 5th character, which I've sort of built. I'm brainstorming ideas. I'm gonna pinch if you're... Oh shit, there's a super mutant there. He whacked me with a hammer. we're actually able to take him out there pretty nicely, I suppose. But yes, I'm going to be looking at a couple of PvP builds and see if that's together, because I've got a set of Assassin Sentinel stuff, and my 5th character ain't doing jack shit. This is a grenade time, actually. A perfect time for a grenade. Never you miss out on DPS with a grenade. Alright, so that was pretty sloppy. We're just managing to pull through by the bloody skin of our teeth here, but it is working for me. I think it might actually be better as a pistol, but again, we'd be missing out on the stealth bonuses, so maybe the survivability of this is pushing it over the line, because there's been a couple of times where I've just gone into sneak like that. I think I'm actually done now. Anyways, so there you have it, an Ultracite VATS crit damage. I'm probably going to call it a VATS, a Bloodied crit damage Ultracite laser gun. It sucks. It should be so much better. I feel like Bethesda ought to take a look at these weapons and give them a big old buff, because it doesn't make any sense, as I've stated many times in this video. This weapon's not for sale. Fuck off if you want it. It's mine. Thank you very much for watching, guys.